This is the Hisgalus of the Koyach Ein Sof, which is also in a similar vein the same idea of higher than Seder Ishtalshlos, a Helm Sheyashnoi, the Helm that's beyond Metzias. And we said that this has to do with with marriage, because Summa Moilid Bari, because someone that is Chas v'Sholom cannot see can give birth to a healthy person that could see. The reason for that is because the Hamshacha is coming from a place that is beyond the Koichas Hagiluyim, beyond the Helam Sheyeshne B'Metzias. Now, the Rebbe is going to bring a similarity to this idea, Benegeya birth, concerning the birth of Adam Rishon and the birth of the world. So we're holding on the 8th page Yud Beis, by the brackets, 3 lines from the bottom, line 25. Like explained in Mamar of Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah was established specifically on the 6th day of creation, not on the first day when the world was created. What's the significance of the 6th day? On the 6th day of creation, it was the idea that Hashem said, let us make man in our form and in our image. On the 6th day, when man was created, came down from the innermost level of the Eibishter. The rest of the world came down from the level of Hashem's Chitzonis. This came from the Pnimis, Adla Pnimis Hatainug, until the innermost level of Hashem's delight. It's beyond the entire chain order of descent. Beyond all the inyanim of the direct light that we said before, that the seichel that comes from Koyach HaMaskil, the seichel that's in the way of Helem Shemitzias, the level of Avram Zakin v'Yosher b'Yeshiva, that's Yosher. That's the direct light that doesn't come out, that comes out having to do with the different, not having to do with challenges, just a straight Amshach. Why is that higher than, what is the level but of higher than Seder Shtalshlos, Kivin Shenimshkum Derech Chayzer, since it comes down in the way of a rebounding light, meaning it comes from a light that comes from down here below. What is the down here below? A light that brings about the special Hamshacha that has to do with the Rosh Hashanah, with the 6th day of creation, through the Avodah of Tamnechuni Aleichem, that we down here are making Hashem king, that Hashem asks us to make him king. By man, how? B'shofar, through a shofar, which is, like Mamar Chassidus explains, is made from an animal, etc., etc. So the whole idea of reaching this highermost level comes dafka when there is a person down here to evoke from the Pnimius level. So this is, the Rebbe is bringing, Derech Agav, another example of how the highest most level is brought about and comes down specifically when there is a low level to counter it, to challenge it, or to bring it out. So now he goes back to the idea that in marriage there is the Koyach Ein Sof, there is the power of the infinite, because first of all he gave the example about Summa Moilid Bari, but the very idea of like the Mamar Chassidus explained, the very idea of procreation is a power of Hashem's infinite. So the Rebbe goes on line 5 on page Yud Gimel, V'zeu b'chol inyan shel nisuin. That idea of the power of the Ein Sof is to be found in every idea of marriage. In any concept of marriage, you have the power of the Ein Sof, which has to do with this level that is Bakoil, higher than Seder Shtalshlos, beyond Avram Zakin, etc. And that, even though that's true in every marriage, how much more so when it comes to the marriage of Yitzchak and Rivka. What's the significance of their marriage? The Yofas Yichasan Shalav, the Yofas Materas Shalbanim, like it's explained in that length in the Amorim, the Maimar Chazal that says it's more special the speech and the talk and the relating of the stories of the servants of the forefathers than the teachings of the children, because the story of Eliezer and going to find a shidduch for Yitzchak is repeated in the Torah over in a very lengthy fashion, whereas the Torah, the halachas that are in the later on parshas, are a lot of times in everything in the halacha can be derived even a lot of times from one extra word and so on, one extra letter. These mamar might be found Bilkut Torah, B'Durush Ad Moram Tzoi, Vatzimuk Tzedek, B'Durush Rab Seinu Siyan Shalach Rizah. It's found Bilkut Torah, the Alter Rebbe, and the Mamarim of the Mittler Rebbe, and the Tzemach Tzedek, and the Mamarim of the Rabbeim following it. So they explain what's the spiritual significance of Sichos and Shalavdi Avis Mitaros Shal Banim, Sheklolus Ha'inyan, the Torah Mitzvahs Hu'inyan Yichud the Ma'uban. The general idea of Torah Mitzvahs is about the union and the mating of the levels above, known as Ma'ban, the different gematrias of Shem Yud Ke Vav Ke, depending on how it's spelled out, Yud Vav Dalet, Hey Aleph, or Hey Yud, or Hey. There can be different numerical equivalents. Come out to the number 45, come out to the number 52. And these signify these two different spellings, if you will, of Yud Ke Vav Ke, but these numerical equivalents signify the levels that's higher than Seder Ishtalshlos and the level of Seder Ishtalshlos. The union of Ma'oban is the joining a lot of times of Kuchablich and Shchinte and Seiva Male, Zah and Malchus. So every mitzvah and every idea of Torah is about making that union, which is, in other words, the purpose of Torah mitzvahs. So, what does that have to do with the Sichos and Shalavdi Avis? There is this union and mating the way it's in a specific manner in every mitzvah individually. So every mitzvah individually has its own form and manner in which there's the yichud of Shem Ma and Shem Ban. Abel, Yeshna Yichud the Ma'oban, there's the union of Ma'oban, the way it's in a very general fashion. Shazel, Klolus Inyan Nesuin, the Yitzchak Rivka. That's the general idea of the marriage of Yitzchak and Rivka, and that is the all-encompassing Ma'oban. So therefore, since that is so important, and since that is so vital, so all the mitzvahs, which is only a detail, are only hinted in small details. In like we said, in an extra letter in the Torah. The marriage of Yitzchak and Rivka, which is the general idea of union of Ma'oban, that is devoted more time because that's the all-encompassing level. But it's not just the marriage itself. It's what preceded the marriage that was in so much detail related. So he says in line 16, as an introduction to the preparation for the marriage of Yitzchak and Rivka, and the marriage itself between Yitzchak and Rivka, like it says, that Yitzchak brought Rivka into the tent of Sarah, his mother, and he took Rivka, and he married Rivka, and she was a wife to him. Nemar, as an introduction to that, says, that Hashem benched Avram with Koil, this all-encompassing level as well, this level that's totally beyond Seder Ishtalshlos, beyond this Chalkos, like we said. That's why it cannot be delineated and differentiated into specific brachas. It's a very general bracha. Ad la'oifen hachinayla b'inyan de bakoil, until the most highest level of bakoil, kifishu ba'oifen shel helm she'en mitzias, the way it's in the manner of a concealment that is not in a state of existence, the higher level of concealment. From that level of bakoil, the way it's a helm she'en mitzias, nimshach achar kach inyan de bakoil b'gematria ben, comes afterwards out the specific matter of bakoil, that it's the gematria of the word ben, a son. Until, since he has a son, now you have to marry him, like Rashi says, she was for him as a wife. That is the union of Ma'oban Beruchnis. This is all a result of the Avshem Berchs of Rambakoil. So now we know the Hemshech HaInyanim of why do we go, like in the beginning of the Maimon he asked, why does he go from Hashem Berchs of Rambakoil to the idea of the marriage of Yitzchak and Rivka? Because to be able to have this general idea of Yichud Ma'oban, you need to have the Hamshacha from the level of Bakoil, this general level, this Helm Shein of Metzias. So he says in Oizvav, line 24, from this comes down the avoid of every single Yid Beprati specifically. Shari Maisa of a similar bond, because the actions of the forefathers are a sign for the children, and a sign doesn't just mean that it's an indicator, it's a gauge, but it's actually an empowerment. After his entire avodah that a Yid does, based on what is the root of his neshama, and not just what is the root of his neshama, the way it's a revealed type of level of root. Va'ad l'shoyrich nishmasai behelam. He fulfills his entire avodah. He does the entire avodah the way his level of his neshama is rooted in the concealed level. But the concealed level is still not the ultimate level. Aval hahelam sheyeshnai b'metzias. It's the level of avodah that's a concealed level that's in existence. Because of every Yid doing this avodah in this type of way, he becomes the level of zaken of an elder, meaning zaken zeshakana chachma, the one that has acquired chachma. He knows Torah, benegel limud Torah, concerning Torah study. By in the baba yamin benegel kiyam mitzvahs. He also has the idea that you are coming in days concerning the fulfillment of mitzvahs. Until the idea that in all your ways you shall know him. In other words, the kiyum mitzvahs is not just limited to mitzvahs, but also fulfilling what Hashem wanted from us, that even in things that are not mitzvahs, things that are your ways, you should know him as well. And he does all that is, by from the yasel l'machak that he does to those that await him, the dachkin chulu machakain chulu. They press and they exert themselves and they put in effort and toil and they await him. So then what happens when we have done everything from our part, we have worked our way up. So top of page Yudal, he says, Nasa etzlo ya'inyan havaya be'etz Avraham b'koil. So the Yid has the level that Hashem benches him with koil, with everything, with the all-inclusive level. It comes down also from a level of concealment that's not in existence. Through that comes down additional bracha and success in all of his matters, in a way that's incomparable. From this comes down also in the service the idea of the toilness of tzaddikim, the offspring of tzaddikim, that we say all your nation are tzaddikim. What are considered the offspring? The good deeds. So in other words, it's not just I attain the level of Helem Shein V'Metzias, and then we have also in the bracha atzlacha in all the matters, like we said, from Hashem Be'etz Avram B'Koil, it comes down even into specifics. But this is also that is Maisim Toivim, Shavidasi B'Torah Mitzvahs B'Oifin Shemevi Peiris, or Peiris Seif Kol Oilo. There is avoidant Torah Mitzvahs in such a manner it brings about fruit, and this fruit give further fruit, and so on and so forth till the end of the world. In all of his Torah Mitzvahs comes down from his level of B'Koil, till it comes down below to details of details, till many details, until it increases greatly. This becomes a close preparation for the true and complete redemption through Mashiach. Then it will be fulfilled what was foretold, that a great congregation will return over here, along with all the sparks of Kedusha that were refined in the way of Oir Chayzer. This will be with great joy, beyond every type of measure and boundary, in the way of you will spread out speedily in our days, soon mamish, the way we understand quickness through Mashiach Tzidkenu.